Aloha mai kako, a koma mai to Curtain Call, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. Members of the Screen Actors Guild will be voting for the recipients of the 28th SAG Awards before noon Pacific time on Friday, February 25th. We will all learn the results on Sunday, February 27th on TNT and TBS at 2 p.m. HST. An encore presentation will air on TNT following the live telecast. The show will also be available the next day on HBO Max. The Screen Actors Guild nominees often reflect the Oscar contenders, and the winners often predict the Academy Award winners in acting categories. Also, the SAG Awards give one for Best Stunts by an ensemble in a film. This year, our own Destin Daniel Cretton's Marvel film Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, is up against 007, Black Widow, Dune, and The Matrix. I'm voting for Shang-Chi. Since SAG merged with AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, they also include TV Actor Awards. I will only be discussing the cinema area. If I included TV, we'd be here until next week. As a member, I have been watching all the nominated films, and today I will be sharing my thoughts and who I will be voting for and why. This year is a remarkable year for cinema. There are so many great films and great performances. Selecting which is the best among all of these is like trying to choose your favorite kid. They are all so different from each other, it almost seems like a fool's game. However, acting is an acquired skill which requires preparation, thought, and finally performance. If one looks at it from that point of view, it doesn't illuminate the problem even a bit, because ultimately, all those seemingly objective criteria are invisible. Finally, the only criteria one can use is, how did this actor make me feel? Is that contributing to the story? And does the story work? The most prestigious SAG award is for Outstanding Cast. It is comparable to the Best Film Oscar. This year, the nominees are amazing. The SAG Award nominees are presented alphabetically, so here they are. Belfast, the story of Protestant family in the Troubles in Northern Ireland in 1969, when there was civil war between Protestants and Catholics and the struggle of a family caught up in them. Their young son, Buddy, Jude Hill's first film, is in love with a Catholic girl, Olive Tennant. His father, Jamie Dornan, works away from home, and his mother, Catriona Balfe, is trying to cope. The boy is very close to his paternal grandparents, the amazing Judi Dench, who's been nominated for an Academy Award, and Sharon Hines as Pop. It was written, directed, and produced by Kenneth Branagh. Coda, which means child of deaf adult. It is about the struggles of their hearing daughter, Ruby, Emilia Jones, who should have been nominated. Her performance is the best of the year. Ruby is torn between her obligation to her family. She has been their hearing interpreter since she was a toddler, who comes from an old Gloucester, Massachusetts fishing tradition, and her desire to find herself through her singing. Her dad, Troy Kotzer, who is up for both the SAG and Oscar in the supporting role, and the first deaf male to receive that honor. Her mom is played by Hollywood's deaf poster child, Marlee Matlin, who was snubbed by both SAG and the Academy. The scene where Marlee is asked by Ruby whether she wishes Ruby was born deaf is a moment you won't forget, and her older brother, Daniel Durrett, who resents her. Eugenio Derbez, as the over-the-top music teacher Bernardo Villalobos, plays a pivotal role in the film, and Ferdia Walsh-Pilo, as Miles, Ruby's singing partner and later boyfriend, round out the cast. It is a great film, and one which poignantly and unsentimentally reveals the struggles of working-class deaf people in a hearing world. Next up is the cast of Don't Look Up, which the critics hated and the audience was not that enthusiastic about either, but that I saw as the Dr. Strangelove of our times and has been nominated for Best Picture by the Academy. It's a tribute to the quality, depth, and breadth of what is available to moviegoers this year that the cast, packed with former Oscar winners Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, and Ms. Oscar herself, Meryl Streep, were ignored by SAG and the Academy. Then it's this year's grand opera, House of Gucci, with Lady Gaga in an Oscar-nominated role, and Adam Driver as her lover, husband, and victim. How SAG and the Academy chose Jared Leto in the supporting actor category and not Al Pacino is beyond me. The cast is rounded out by Salma Hayek as a soothsayer advisor to Gaga's Madame Gucci, and Jeremy Irons as the patriarch of the Gucci empire. I love this movie, Lady Gaga and Al Pacino particularly. And lastly, we have the cast of King Richard, the story of how Venus, Sonia Sidney, and Serena Williams, Demi Singleton, were mentored by their father, Will Smith, and mother, Aljanae Ellis, into becoming the greatest female and among the greatest tennis stars of all time. It's a heartwarming film that shows what their father went through because he believed in them. He could see what no one else could until he showed them. The film was also chosen by the Academy for Best Picture, and Will Smith is deservedly up for a Best Actor award. My choice is Coda. It does everything you want in a film, moves one emotionally, enlightens one about the real difficulties of being deaf, and entertains one completely. Emilia Jones' performance as the Coda with a great singing voice is my favorite of the year, and let me tell you, that's saying something in this cinema year for the ages. Besides Will Smith, Benedict Cumberbatch is up for his portrayal of a closeted cowboy Harvard alum homosexual in the early part of the 20th century in Oklahoma in The Power of the Dog. Denzel Washington is nominated for his powerful and nuanced portrayal of the man whose name you cannot say in the theater, Macbeth. Joel Coen's first film without his brother Ethan in the tragedy of Macbeth. Javier Bardem plays Ricky Ricardo revealingly in Being the Ricardos, and Andrew Garfield for his role as the late great Broadway composer who gave us Rent, Jonathan Larson, in Tick, Tick, Boom. I thought his performance as Jim Baker in The Eyes of Tammy Faye was equally as good, but SAG limits its nominees to just 5. I had a very hard time in this between Denzel Washington and Will Smith. My choice for Best Actor is Will Smith. I loved his passionate belief in his intuitive knowledge that his daughters could be the greatest of all time, and his self-sacrifice to bring that to be. In the female actor category are Jessica Chastain in a transcendentally wonderful performance as Tammy Faye Baker. Her mother, played by the great Broadway star Cherry Jones, should have gotten a nod for this performance as the stoic Minnesota evangelical piano-playing mom. Next is Olivia Coleman as Lita, the traumatized English professor on holiday in Greece, and her observation of a mother-daughter relationship. This is one the critics loved and the audience hated. Along with Ms. Coleman's remarkably deep performance, Jessie Buckley as young Lita should share this nomination. This movie utilizes flashbacks fundamentally. Maggie Gyllenhaal's first directorial effort, and she did a great job. Lady Gaga for House of Gucci. She is a great artist and deserves the accolades she gets, but unfortunately, I thought she should have won for A Star is Born. This is not her year. Jennifer Hudson as Aretha Franklin in Respect turns in the best performance of her life. She illuminates the life of the Queen of Soul, and I don't know how Forrest Whitaker's performance as her dad didn't make a supporting nod. And finally, we have Nicole Kidman as Lucy in Being the Ricardos. I Love Lucy was one of the greatest comedy shows in television history. I watched it with my family every Monday night until I was 9 in 1957. The film shows scenes from some of Lucy's most memorable shows, and Ms. Kidman reproduces them so well one thinks one is watching reruns. A great performance by one of our greatest female actors. My choice is Jessica Chastain, who made me not only understand the Bakers, but made me love, admire, and feel terribly sorry for Tammy Faye, something that shocked me. I wasn't even going to watch it because of my dislike and mistrust of the Bakers, but I am so glad I did. I'm pretty sure none of my choices will be winners. The SAG Awards missed Licorice Pizza, except for inexplicably including Bradley Cooper for his tiny performance as John Peters, and the Academy Awards overlooked Passing entirely. If you haven't seen these, be sure to check them out. Well, that's Curtain Call for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, I'll have a review of Buyers and Sellers at ProArts. I'm Paul James Brown. Ahui ho!